Good evening and welcome to the penultimate round of the America F1 series here at Zandvoort in the Netherlands for the Dutch Grand Prix. I'm Tom Cairns in the commentary box alongside the young hopeful that is Byron Hale, who's just joined me from another gig earlier on. Byron, good evening.
Yeah, good evening to you as well. I'm quite happy to commentate Zandvoort. It's the first ever race I commentated, so it's got a special place in my heart. So this could be very interesting. Zandvoort's a very fun track to race on as well. Lots of gravel, very old school. Should be good.
Yes, indeed. And just to note, a couple of driver changes for this one. As Salil 30 has taken Marcus 22's place at Red Bull, along with WSPJA in for PLG Jackson in the Racing Point. We're just waiting for the drivers to nip out onto the circuit. The clouds are very, very dark, so I wonder if we're going to get some wet running here, Byron.
Potentially. Obviously, we don't know that. We'd like to. So we'll find out in a mere few. I'm being told my audio's kind of quiet, so I'll sort that out quickly. No problem whatsoever. Apparently, a bit quiet, which makes a bit of sense. Right, should be good now. Waiting for the first drivers to come out onto the circuit at Red Bull.
Yeah, and it's
of the hill.
Yeah, Salil 30, one of those who's come in as a last-minute replacement for Marcus 22. And you need to see if I think it's Salil's first. He's done a race before in the American F1 series, and just trying to rekindle my mind where he did race at. He raced for Mercedes at Singapore, and he got a 9th place finish. So it was only 2 rounds ago. So this is his second race in the America F1 series. Can he go better here than he did so in that manic wet and dry race at Singapore?
Well, I wasn't there for that round, but it sounds like it was chaotic anyway. A wet and dry race at Singapore. Almost seems like something we could potentially get at Zandvoort with how overcast it's looking. Doesn't seem like there's a massive rush to get out the pit lane though, so I don't think it is supposed to rain during qualifying. Otherwise, they would be trying to dart out of the pit lane, everybody trying to desperately get out. So it's unlikely that that's going to be happening during qualifying. But who knows? Anything is possible.
So Salil 30, the first driver to begin a flying lap. There's Bishop's finger coming out of the pits, but he should remain out of the way, which he does. And Salil 30 looking to nail the first part of the lap. Now this is a section which I do like. I love this sort of swing back, the left-hander of turn 4 or 5 I think it was. But that's one of my favourite turns on the Formula 1 calendar.
It's got a few good turns at this circuit. I really like how the circuit flows very well. I really like this fast right-hander. A lot of the fast right-handers here are very furious. There's a switch back off. No, that's his teammate Monkey Mafia, who I absolutely bullied in the Twitch chat. He sent some monkey emojis, so I sent them back. And he said I look like I've got some monkey support, so I said no.
Well, we're going away from that, but just wanted to mention the situation in the drivers' standings. We've got Ben McEwen, who's leading the way by 10 points over second place Radicom. Then it's Gamer James 06 in third on 26 points behind, and Switchback 37, 39 points behind. So those are the 4 drivers still in mathematical contention for the driver's title. So Ben McEwen, if he can outscore Radicom by 16 points, that should be enough for him to clinch the title. Although if Gamer James does win this race, then that would keep the title battle going.
Who knows? Gamer James, he wasn't bad last race, but he wasn't great, so there's always room for improvement for these drivers. It's about who's done the most practice, who's done the most preparation for this race, and if you've done more than everybody else, you are already in a much better position than your competition.
So looking at the time so far, Salil 30's quickest on a 1:10.0, then it's Denmark in second, half a second slower than him. Yes, he's on the mediums.
So it's a really good lap time for medium compound running, so it's a pretty solid lap time, I think.
So switchback, the next to cross over the line, and he goes to provisional pole position on a 1 minute 9.2, nearly 0.8 of a second quicker than Salil. So good lap there from switchback. We've got the likes of Ben McEwen, Gamer James and co to set better times. Gamer James had his lap time invalidated for exceeding track limits. We've got Elog though, my name is Guy, coming over the line, and he goes second fastest on the 1 minute 9.5, so a good lap from him.
Yeah, I think that's going to be interesting. I'm surprised drivers like Ben McEwen aren't trying a different strategy qualifying on the mediums. Ben McEwen knows he can easily stick it very well in qualifying. So why he didn't decide to go onto the mediums, I'm actually curious to know. He could have easily pulled an alternate strategy, and I think it would have worked really well for him. So, but he is on the softs, so he's clearly decided that's the better strategy. He does go purple in sector 1.
So it's a purple first sector. He hasn't set a time yet, but I can imagine he will at least go up into the top 3, unless he decides to back out of the lap at the end, so that he can maybe qualify on the mediums if he wanted to. But it'd be very bold of him to do that, and he's got to be wary of other drivers behind him. He doesn't go too slow on the pit straight.
Sector 2 was also purple. I'm going to follow through with my strategy, no matter how good it is. He goes on to provisional pole by nearly 0.2 of a second, which is a pretty good lap time, but that's already been beaten marginally by the racing point.
Yeah, WSP, I'll call him as that, has gone fastest by 0.6 of a second, so a good lap from him to go to P1. Just to see if there's any other drivers on a fast lap. Disimpy, I'm not sure if he is really on a fast lap, but look at Gummers Indu, who's about to complete his first time lap in the Mercedes. He's not going to go fastest by any stretch of the imagination. He's going to go slowest here with a 1:15, so a really poor lap from him, even on the mediums.
Indeed. Zali's come out for our hot lap. By the way, that's apparently the pronunciation of it. It's Zali, not Zahil, as we've been saying. He's just put it into the Twitch chat and said, just a little tip, it's Zar L-I, not Zar L-I-L, but just a little tip.
Salil, is that how you pronounce it?
Just a little tip, apparently.
Yeah, well, I can clearly see the difference between the L and the I on the typography in this particular game anyway, so it's not that difficult for me to spot. Monkey Muff is crossing over the line for his first time lap on a 1 minute 10.1. That puts him up to 6th. Any driver on a fast lap? Radicon is, so we'll stay on board with him. He is one of the contenders to go for pole here. Now, with it being a short track here, I would expect the times to be very, very close. So here's Radicon, over the line he comes. And he goes up to 4th place on a 1 minute 9.4. Less over 0.3 off the fastest time set by WSP in the racing point.
Well,
and the Quasinada's gone for a spin. That's cost himself an embarrassment. Oh, he just missed the one of the McLarens. It was Gamer James who was going past him. I wonder if he had to back out of it at that point. But he hasn't set a time yet, has Gamer James, so he might as well continue on his lap.
might as well.
Shifty Gifty coming over the line to set a 1 minute 16.7. Not a good lap from in there. That wouldn't even make the 107% roll.
No. It's a good thing the 107% rule isn't the F1 2020 game, because a lot of these drivers wouldn't be having very fun times right now.
No. It's perhaps a good thing that it's not included in the game. As you can see, Gamazindo pushing too hard there. I think he's coming back into the pits anyway. Or he's going to go on another lap. He's going to get out of the way of other drivers. Binatinata is one of two drivers yet to post a time. He's about to complete his latest one. And Salil is about to cross the line. He's not going to improve his time, I don't think. Binatinata goes up to 15th on a 1 minute 13.1. So not a bad lap from him with his capabilities.
I mean, I would say I could probably compete towards the front here if I was driving. You know, I think these drivers are definitely hiding pace. I'm not the fastest here, but I am pretty good, and I think I could certainly be towards the top end of this field. So definitely some pace being hidden, I think.
Yeah, well, Denmark's gone purple in Sector 2. Didn't get the good speed through the beginning of the last sector through the exit of that chicane. But he's carrying on anyway. He's about to cross over the line on his first set of softs. It'll be a 1 minute 10.1 that puts him 8th, but he did lose time in Sector 3.
The game of one, but I guess a game of one does still have its very, very marginal advantage of that track position.
So with 14's backed out of this lap, I think, unless he is continuing on.
It seems like quite a lot of people are on is Elog's doing for another push lap. He's had that lap invalidated, which was his original push lap, but he's continued it. Interestingly so.
And the switchback is on a lap at the moment. I want to see what his second sector time is like.
I think that's an in lap.
Is it an in lap? Yeah, it's an in lap, so you can tell by the pace he's going, so no improvement on his time.
Elog went fastest in Sector 1 apparently, which is good pace from the Renault driver, as he sets that fastest Sector 1.
And DeSimpi's on a fast lap so far, so we'll come up to him, but Elog's gone purple through Sector 2, yeah. So Elog, can he go maybe on the front row? I think it's going to be very hard for him to find so much time in such a short lap. He's coming over the line now, and it's a 1 minute 8.9 provisional pole position for Elog.
Well, you said it. You probably couldn't get on the front row. There's a lot of time to find, but he's proved you wrong. He found a lot of time.
Yeah, DeSimpi's on a better lap than before, but doesn't change his position there. He found a lot of time in Sector 1, but he had a poor middle sector. And WSP goes even quicker. He responds to that by posting a 1:8.8.
These drivers are clearly ramping up the pace now. Ben McEwen is going to have to respond soon, and well, he's going to have to respond with a meaty lap time to get ahead of them. That's going to need to be a massive improvement for him to get anywhere near provisional pole position.
Krasnod has gone up to 15, posting his first time of the session. But we want to have a look at Radicon because he found some time in Sector 2 by hugging the apex. So in fact, he's coming into the pits. So clearly not on a better lap than before. So rather than going round another lap, he decides to come back in.
Well, he's clearly still pushing the limits, even if it's an outlap. So, in-lap, sorry. The limits are still being pushed by these drivers, and they're clearly trying to maximise lap time, no matter where it is.
Yeah, so Ray 46 is coming to the pits as well. Is he? No, he's carrying on. He's on a better lap than before. He goes up to 7th on a 1 minute 9.8, so he's managed to find 7/10 of a second from his previous personal best to put himself up there on the 4th row alongside his teammate.
It's a really, really good lap time from him. It's definitely something to be.
And we've got a Ferrari pointing the wrong way. It looks as though that Shifty Gifty 15 has gone round. In fact, Gummerson has been disqualified from the session, so I can't imagine he will continue on there. But yeah, he's been disqualified, as you can see. So he'll start 19th no matter what. So Radicon's back out on his final set of tyres, it seems. Can he improve?
To see if that... Sorry, I was just saying, I wonder if that was actually Gummer's fault or not, and whether he was just trying to let people through and the game disqualified him, or what exactly happened and meant he was disqualified there. Because from my opinion, it doesn't look like it was really all too much his fault. I don't see much reason why it could be considered his fault.
Nata trying to get the power down as soon as he can, really. He's got a Red Bull of Salil, who's also on a fast lap. And Salil's going to be compromised here. I wonder if it may be best for him to back out of this lap. Yeah, he's lost time in sector 1, so he may as well just back out of it altogether and go again and allow space for the other drivers to complete their laps.
So, you know Natty got a bug which meant he was stationary until he was disqualified last race at Brazil?
Yes.
That is what happened to Gummers.
No, he was pointing the wrong way, was Gummers Indu. He was pointing the wrong way when he was being disqualified.
Well, that is what he's just said. He said he got the same bug as Natty in Brazil, and he got disqualified.
That's interesting.
And there was also a swear word in there.
Yeah, yeah. Anything industrial, don't say it.
I would never say such a thing.
Yeah. So Denmark is on a fast lap.
Ben McEwen's also on a fast lap. He's looking to respond to WSP or ELOG. He has also got a bit of traffic from a Haas. I believe that's Binati Natter in front of him. I believe he's on an in-lap. There's a flag in sector 1 and 2.
That'll be for drivers just getting out of the way. We've got a Racing Point who is on... I think he's just completing the outlap of his. So just trying to find a driver who's close to completing their latest flying lap.
I believe it'll be Radicon.
No, he's gone into the pits by the looks of it.
Radicon's gone into the pits.
So he won't be improving.
Radicon's retired because it's clear he won't be able to get another run.
And Elog's gone quicker than before, but not enough to break WSP's stay in P1. Ben McEwen on a fast lap as well. He can't make pole. So for the first time since round 2 of the championship, I believe, Ben McEwen will not start on pole position.
Well, I guess everybody has their strong and weak circuits, and it's clear that this is one of his weaker ones because, shockingly, he won't take pole position, which is very uncharacteristic of Ben McEwen, but...
WSP's gone even quicker now. So WSP over a 10th clear of Elog to go to P1. So that last minute replacement could well be a good one for WSP. We've got a fight on our hands here in Zandvoort.
Indeed. Elog can't really respond because he's already done his push lap, so...
DeSimpi's on a faster lap than before though, so he could maybe break into the top staying, but no he doesn't because he's coming into the pits. Any drivers on a fast lap? Quasinada's just done his last lap actually, so he won't be improving. Gamer James is on a fast lap, so we'll stay on board with him. He needs a good result here to keep his title hopes alive. Onto the start finish straight with DRS. He stays 6th. He does improve his time, but no change of position.
Monkey Mafia, I think he intentionally backed off there so he can keep P11.
Yeah,
But
I think that's fair. You know, he wants to go on a harder compound to begin the race on. But WSP on pole position alongside Elog in second place. Neither of them are in contention for the title, but Ben McEwen, crucially, is ahead of all his championship rivals in third, ahead of Switchback, Radicon and Gamer James.
it's interesting that two drivers who aren't even in contention for the championship are then 1 and 2 in qualifying. It's almost like George Russell taking pole position in a Williams. It makes no sense.
So running down the grid, WSP and Elog on the front row. Then it's Ben McEwen and Switchback in third and fourth on row 2. Then it's Radicon and Gamer James on row 3. Ray E46 and Salil on row 4. Stokebloke and Denmark on row 5. Monkey Mafia and Disimpi on row 6. Shifty Gifty and Quasinada on row 7. Bishop's Finger and Karim on row 8. B Natinata and Tilwick on row 9. And Gummers Indy will start at the back as he was disqualified from qualifying.
Yeah. Interesting qualifying, I think. Sets a interesting order for the race, and should be some drama up and down the field by the seams of it. So I'm excited as we're close to the formation lap now.
And so will we. And I'll be interested to see what the weather's going to be like as well, because if it's going to be a wet race for this, then I can imagine that... yeah, it's Sali. Yeah, Sali's how it's pronounced as. I don't know why I said Salil, but it's Sali. I do apologise, my poor pronunciation there. It's just, I think it's just old habits really. But yeah, Sali. I'll make sure I say that for the foreseeable future. So my apologies there for the Red Bull replacement. So
it's sunny.
And it's sunny, yes. So it's a sunny occasion here in Zandvoort, but it doesn't mean it's going to be dry throughout, but I'd like to think it will be dry for the Dutch Grand Prix, the penultimate round of the championship. Can Ben McEwen clinch the title here? What's your prediction?
I think he's got a decent shot at it, but he needs a pretty good race here where he at least makes a place up. He'll need to definitely be second. Potentially really needs to be fighting for that lead, really. I think it's going to be tough for him, but he's going to need to live up to that challenge. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do over Zandvoort. That's going to be for sure.
Yep. I'm looking forward to see how the likes of Stokebloke and Denmark do, because they've been regulars in the championship and they've not really troubled the leaders that much in the title race. But you know, with them not in championship contention, they haven't got anything to lose here, and so why not go for, you know, a podium finish here in Zandvoort?
Would make sense. It's a really good idea to really go broke or nothing, basically.
So it's going to be an interesting one with WSPJA on pole position here ahead of Elog. So judging by the predicted pit stop strategy, it looks as though those starting on the softs will go on the hards for the last stint. When looking at tyres, Monkey Mafia is on the mediums, as is Disimpi and Tilwick. Shifty Gifty is on the hards. All the others are on the soft compound.
Well, they're all clearly trying some different strategies to see what's going to work best. Question is, what strategy will work best? What do you think?
I think if you start on the mediums, I think you're in prime position, but you're going to be in a lot of traffic, and if we get a safety car, that could most definitely play its role. But an update on the championship: Ben McEwen is on 132 points, Radicon second on 122, Gamer James in third on 106, and Switchback in fourth on 93. So 39 points separating the four drivers who are still in contention for the title. Ben McEwen needs to outscore Radicon by 16 points at least, and finish ahead of Gamer James to wrap up the title. So it doesn't matter where Switchback finishes. So you can see all the cars coming onto the grid for the start. Just waiting for the last few to take their positions onto the grid. With WSP on his debut in the America F1 Series, can he convert his pole position into the race victory? Well, Racing Point already took victory earlier this season with Pure G Jackson in Singapore. Can WSP do it for the team here today? Well, the lights will come on in a moment. When they go out, we'll be racing here in Zandvoort. Lights out, and away we go. WSPGA gets off the line cleanly, but the Renault of Elog got an even better start, but WSP is going to lead into the turn 1 on a short rundown, and he's kept hold of first position. Then it's Elog in second place. Ben McEwen is in third position ahead of Radicon. Gamer James and Ray46 has got ahead of Switchback down the inside into turn 4, and that's the Red Bull up into sixth position. But we've got WSJA still in the lead ahead of Elog in second place. It's Ben McEwen, Radicon, Gamer James, Switchback, Ray46 ahead of the other Red Bull of Sarli in 9th. Then it's Denmark in 10th. Then it's Stoke Bloke, Tsimpi, Monkey Mafia, Quasinada, B Natinata, Bishop's Finger, Gumasindu, Tilwick, Shifagifty and Karim at the back of the field. I think both of them have got front wing damage to their cars, so their race is already destroyed really as far as the race is concerned, but WSP getting off the line cleanly.
Yeah, I saw what happened with Karim. Karim basically just lost it. Ooh, Stoke Bloke's also lost it.
Yep, Stoke Bloke is in the barrier. He's had a good season so far with finishing the top 8 in every single round this year, but I think he's going to find it very tough to keep hold of that record by the end of this one. WSP still in the lead, and it's Elog in second and Ben McEwen in third. Yeah, and Stoke Bloke's gone for another spin. I wonder if this is going to bring out a virtual safety car or a full safety car here, given where he's parked the car there at the moment. Shifagifty also in the pits for a new front wing, so Ferrari's race not a very good one. Both drivers at the back of the field.
It's a bit like real life.
Maybe not at the first race in Bahrain in real life, but last year was most definitely a regular feat for Ferrari.
Yeah, well, Ferrari.
And someone else has gone for another spin. Bishop's Finger in the beginning of sector 2, but he's managed to keep the car going. I wonder if he's had front wing damage though.
Doesn't look like he has damage to the wing. No, it doesn't look it. It's going to be hard to get them tyres to cool down, that's for sure.
Well, Elog is out of DRS range as WSP sets a new fastest lap of 1 minute 12, but that time will most definitely come down as the race goes on. DRS is enabled, so if you are within 1 second of the car, you can see Gamer James down the inside of Radicon, coming into the right-hander of turn 3, and he's got the move done and up into 4th place.
Shifty Giddy is taking another spin to add to the Ferrari master plan.
And Tsimpi's also in the pits, presumably with damage, so after a decent qualifying he's already on the back foot in this race. But a great move from Gamer James to get his McLaren up ahead of Radicon. Now that's important for the championship, and Switchback will need to get ahead of all these guys to keep his slim hopes alive. We've got another spin down in sector. Yeah, Natinata's gone for a spin in the Haas, and he's ripped off his front wing completely, so he'll most definitely need to come back into the pits for a change of front wing. And I wonder if we may get a virtual safety car with all the mess that's happened so far, Byron.
Well, it doesn't appear so. There's not been one called out thus far, and there hasn't been one yet. But we've got woes for the Ferrari-powered cars, because actually it's basically the Ferrari-powered cars that have just really not had a good start to the race, with the Haas's being right down the order, the same for both Ferraris, and the Alfa Romeos aren't doing particularly well, but they are both in the points. So that is a relatively good place to be for Alfa Romeo, the only Ferrari-powered car in the top 10 as it stands.
Yeah, it's rare that we hear, Ferrari-powered cars in the top 10. That's not the Ferrari Works team. Neither of their cars are in the points at the moment. WSP continuing to lead. He's got a 1.7 second margin, so crucially he's out of DRS range. Ben McEwen did have DRS on the start-finish straight. He's got DRS here, but it's very difficult to get overtakes done here in Zandvoort, so I can imagine the pit stops will play a role in the race result here. And if we get a safety car, that will most definitely change things. Now, the drivers battling for the title are currently 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th. Ben McEwen in 3rd, so as it stands, as far as the championship is concerned, it'll go down to the last race, and he would be 15 points ahead of Radicon, and Gamer James 06, with where he is in the standings, he'd be out of the title race, as would Switchback.
Well, they're going to be looking to get a move on then, if they want to stay in the hunt for that championship. Even if it's a very slim chance, it's still a chance nonetheless, and you want every chance you can get, especially in Formula 1. And, well, Ben McEwen, he's got a chance to seal the championship if he's really lucky, so, he's going to be fighting for that chance just as they'll be fighting for a chance to stay in the hunt.
I think Ben McEwen will be thinking more about the championship rather than going for the race victory today. He is ahead of all of his title rivals, so he won't want to take too many risks with the Renault of Elog, but the longer he waits behind him, the better the chance of his rivals closing in on him. So he doesn't want to leave it too late to get by Elog, but if we do get a safety car, then that may change the complexion of this race. But it's not so far as WSP completes lap 5 and is already coming up towards a back marker. That is Binati.
Well, it's a bit unlucky if you're being lapped on only lap 6 of 36. We're not even that far into the race, and we're being lapped, and there's blue flags flying. He's about to be lapped. It's very unlucky, but it's even more unlucky if you're the Ferrari, because the Ferrari of Schiffer, he's already been lapped by the top 10.
Yeah, so he's got a long way to catch up, and if a safety car was to come out, he wouldn't be able to get back on the lead lap unless the leader's pitted, and he stayed out. Sarli has got ahead of his teammate Ray, up into 7th place. He was very quick earlier on in qualifying. Can he convert that pace into the race? Well, further ahead, Switchback is within DRS range of Radicon, who at the moment won't have DRS. So this could be an opportunity for Switchback to make a move on the American.
Yeah, he could make the move, but he's got to make it count. Because if you mess it up...
There he's down the inside, look, into turn 1, the two make contact. Switchback nearly got the job done there. They did make contact, they make wheel to wheel. Switchback down the inside into turn 3. Can't make the move stick, and so he has to sit behind the Mercedes of Radicon.
He hit the rear of the diffuser of Radicon as they were going through the really tight left-hander there. Really hard to try and get a move done, even round the outside there, and I think he broke a bit too late, and his front wing smacked into the rear end of the Mercedes, but no damage for either of them, you would say thankfully, as they are able to continue on in this race.
So Ben McEwen remaining behind Elog in the Williams, but Switchback, I have to say, he's closer here now than he was a lap ago, and so should he get the last 2 turns, nail the apexes of turns 13 and 14, I think it is. I'm trying to remember my corner numbers for Zandvoort, but either way, he's coming onto the start-finish straight now. Is he close enough to have another go? I don't think he will be on this occasion, so he sits behind. Doesn't go through Tarzan this time around. But this is far from over as far as this battle is concerned.
Indeed. Just noticing that Ray, Denmark, and Zali are all really close.
Yeah, so Zali is 2 seconds. Sarli's 2 seconds behind Switchback, but he's under threat from his teammate Ray and Denmark behind them. Monkey Mafia's some way behind these lot, so it's not too bad.
Switchback has got past Radicon.
Yes, he has. He's done it. He must have done it through the right-hander they've just gone through. So Switchback is up into 5th position, ahead of Radicon. And someone's gone for a spin in Sector 2. It's one of the Hasses that's gone for a spin. Natty, yeah. Ben McEwen within DRS range. Elog didn't get the best of exits through the last turn, so this could be a golden opportunity for Ben McEwen to get his Williams up into 2nd place here, down the inside into Tarzan. Ben McEwen, can he run him out wide? The two make contact. Ben McEwen got his hand up off the steering wheel for a moment as he was not too impressed with Elog's manoeuvre there, and the Renault gets back ahead of him.
Good fierce racing from Elog as he's trying to really hustle and keep that position from a very fast Ben McEwen behind, who ultimately has the faster pace though, who ultimately should be in P2. You would argue Elog has been able to keep Ben McEwen behind for so long, but Ben McEwen hasn't been looking bad either, so...
And one of the Rebels has gone for a spin. It's Ray. Ray's gone for has had a moment at the Renault that's what it's called.
He's also got front wing damage.
Yeah, he's had a moment. I think he must have touched the barrier somewhere. So Ray 46 has lost a position to Monkey Mafia. But Ben McEwen behind the Renault of My Name's Guy, or Elog I should say. And sits behind him once again. Doesn't need to take too many risks here. He knows that his championship rivals are behind him on track.
Problem is he wants the move, he can smell it, and he wants it, so he's still gonna try. And it's gonna be fighting for it every single opportunity he gets, and he's trying to get it as soon as possible, because Gamer James isn't that far behind now, only 1.2 seconds separating them, so he's close to DRS range as well, so gotta get a move on if they want to keep Gamer James behind, because Ben McEwen could get pressured by Gamer James if they don't get a move on.
So this has come through Comho and through Ari Lyondike, the Ari Lyondike corner. Ari Lyondike, in case you didn't know, he was a former racing driver back in his day. He was a pretty talented guy, it has to be said.
I like your F1 facts.
So Ben McEwen sits behind as Gamer James and Radicon pit together. So Gamer James going on the medium compound, as does Radicon. Now where will they come out in terms of track position? Sarli pitted a couple of laps ago, but he won't be troubling these guys, so it should be good track position for Gamer James and Radicon.
Well, you would really hope so, and well, it's crunch time for a lot of these drivers. It's going to be really tight now.
So Ben McEwen still behind Elog. Now, I just wonder, with all this time losing behind Elog, is allowing WSP to go off into the distance. Now, how soon will Ben McEwen come into the pits here? I think if you're considering about the championship, you would want to be pitting now if you are Ben McEwen. I think if you're Switchback, I think you're going to have to take a gamble.
Yeah, there's going to be some drivers taking gambles and others playing it safe. And it's a case of which one do you want to be? Well, Ben McEwen, he's decided he's playing it safe.
Yeah, and I think it was the right thing to do as well. You can see the racing point of WSP completing his stop before Ben McEwen even gets to his box. So that tells you everything you need to know about this race so far. Denmark gets ahead of Ben McEwen, although he's yet to stop. You can see Gamer James coming through your picture there. Ben McEwen gets out behind Monkey Mafia, but crucially ahead of Gamer James.
Yeah, this is very intense stuff here.
He's on the hard compound as well. So if Gamer James has got any opportunity to finish ahead of Ben McEwen in this race for the sake of the championship, he needs to get by him as soon as he can.
Yeah, get a move on. Not got long to do it. And you know what? You're just going to lose a lot of time. Ben McEwen reacted really well to Gamer James, though, coming in the very next lap as soon as he knew it was happening. And he's on an alternate strategy, but he reacted and manages to keep the McLaren behind, and that could play into his hands slightly. That's one less car he has to overtake on track.
Yep. And Gamer James is going to be in the slipstream of Ben McEwen, who is continuing to be stuck behind the Alfa Romeo of Monkey Mafia. I wonder if the Alfa Romeo is going to fight it out with Ben McEwen here. And no, he isn't. No, he knows he's not in the fight with these guys. And a racing point's gone for a spin. That will be Quasinada in the racing point, who's and Monkey Mafia has been passed by the Williams of. In fact, Gamer James loses it coming out of that incline of the left of Hugenholtz. But yeah, he's lost crucial time there. He nearly lost it, but he crucially stays ahead of Radicon. But that's not going to do him any favours.
No, he's definitely put some heat into the tyres, which is going to be hard to get rid of because, well, the tyres like to overheat here on pretty much all compounds, so he's going to struggle to really get the heat out of them.
Mm-hmm. And whilst we've been talking there, Elog has completed his stop and he's out on the medium compound, so that's him ahead of Ben McEwen again. And someone else went for another spin. I think that was Gamazindu, who's I wonder if he's going to call it quits here because he's struggling to get going again. But no, he's got going again now. So he's currently in 16th position. And Ben McEwen still sitting behind the Renault of Elog, but he doesn't need to pass him. He just needs to finish ahead of his title contenders to increase his points lead going into the last race of the season in Abu Dhabi next weekend.
Indeed. I think the priority probably wasn't trying to get past Elog. I think the priority was really trying to keep Gamer James behind, hence why he really had to...
Ooh, did you see that there? The Renault of Denmark kindly left... I was just going to say, yeah, Elog was let through there. In fact, Gamazindu's crashed into the barrier on the exits of what's called the Renault box corner. Well, I think it's known as the Renault corner, but he's lost it through there, and he's lost even more time. He's got going again, but going back to what I was saying about the Renault change there, Elog was kind of let through by Denmark, and as Elog got past, Ben McEwen took advantage and got by as well.
It was a beautiful move from Ben McEwen as well. That was really well executed around the outside through there and made that work beautifully, and he really got a good advantage by getting past there as opposed to having to overtake on track. That saves him a lot of time, and that's really helping him, I think.
Yeah, and Gamer James has got by Monkey Mafia and up into 4th place. That's important for him. Now he needs to go after Ben McEwen, who's 3 seconds up the road from him.
That's 3 seconds. It's quite a bit of time, but if you can get it right, you can certainly make that time.
So WSP continuing to lead, over 7 seconds in front now of Elog in 2nd place. And Quasinada's got a 3-second time penalty. We haven't seen too many time penalties in this race. Only 3 drivers have been given time penalties. Ray got a 5 seconds time penalty for speeding in the pits. Shifty got the same, I believe. And the recent one is Quasinada's got 3 seconds for...
Gunners is on the intermediate tyres, but it's not even raining.
Yeah, I think that'll be because he won't want to be on a softer compound or needing to do another pit stop if he came in earlier, but he is going to have to do pits again. I think it's to avoid doing 2 different dry compounds in this race, and if you run the intermediate tyre, even for a lap, it takes that mandatory rule out of the window for your car, but I don't see why you should have to do that unless you are under safety car conditions.
I was not even aware that that counted towards that allocation.
It's a strange one. It's a very strange rule of which one of those the drivers try and bend, but I don't like the idea of it. I just don't see the point, personally.
it. Ban their use of wet tyres in dry conditions. Had it happen in a league race in qualifying at France, where in order to avoid using a tyre from his allocation, he went on the intermediates. He had a qualifying ban, but they can do like an outlap and then go into the pits, so it locks their setup, because that can be a problem. So that's what they did.
Sorry to interrupt there, but Switchback's got a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits, so that's another blow to his title hopes. He's far enough ahead of Denmark, he's over 8 seconds in front of him, but if he's finished ahead of these title rivals, he needs to get past all of them and pull out a 3-second margin, but even that just looks like a miracle now for him.
Indeed. Ray gets past Zali, but Zali's giving her a real battle for it. Not wanting to give it up, but he's really got to concede the position at that point.
And Ray 46 is on the soft tyres as well, so that could well explain Ray, who is on those. And I can imagine he will need to pit again. So he's going for an aggressive strategy here, is Ray, so he could be one to look out for.
Depends how it works. If he gets caught out in traffic after that second stop, that's really going to disadvantage him. So it's going to be a game of chess, basically. Making the moves count. And not losing too much of your own arm. I'm not one for chess, so my knowledge is lackluster.
So Monkey Mafia on his medium tyres he's doing rather well actually. I'm just interested to see how far he can take those, but I can imagine it will go on the soft compound for the last stint. So we'll keep an eye on him, on his progress. He may try and go for the fastest lap of the race, which would be another point for him. Just depends how he manages his tyres for the next few laps at least.
Well, he's got an opportunity to do something different, and he probably can and will. Might as well utilise that advantage that he's given himself.
Switchback is right behind him as well, and he'll be looking to get past one of his title rivals now. He's got his teammate who's trying to hold Radicon for as long as possible, and Switchback needs to try and take every opportunity possible to get ahead.
It's beginning to rain.
It is beginning to rain now, and that throws another spanner into the mix. But Radicon is looking to get past Monkey Mafia, who goes defensive. Now, if Radicon can't make the move straight, that may open the door for Switchback to get through. In fact, Switchback has got by Monkey Mafia as well. So, Monkey Mafia beginning... In fact, this is good news for Monkey Mafia, actually, because those who have already pitted will probably need to come back in again to get the intermediates on if the rain continues to fall.
Well, it's looking like it potentially will continue to rain. It's a bit like Singapore, just the opposite. Instead of wet-dry, it's dry-wet.
Yeah, well, it was dry at the beginning of Singapore, then it rained for a bit, but not for long enough for those to get onto the intermediate. So a lot of them tiptoed their way round until the rain stopped. Then it was dry for a long while, then it got rain, and then the drivers did go on the intermediates for the final couple of laps. That was how hectic of a race it was in Singapore a couple of weeks ago. If you haven't watched that race, do go and watch it if you've got time. It's on the Tom Cairns official YouTube channel. You can watch all the races that are uploaded on there, as well as the America F1 Series YouTube channel. They are on both of those channels on YouTube if you get an opportunity to watch.
I didn't know you had a YouTube channel, but I'm now going to find it.
Well, whilst you do find it, Monkey Mafia is looking to stay in touch with Radicon. Now, at this stage of the race, I wonder how quickly it will be before the track does get greasy enough for the drivers to be in that window to go onto the intermediates. Now, WSP, providing he keeps the car on the track, he's not going to have any trouble whatsoever. Elog in second place in the Renault, Ben McEwen third, Gamer Jones fourth, Switchback fifth, and Radicon sixth. As it stands, Ben McEwen would extend his lead in the title race with Radicon in 6th place. And Ben McEwen would get 15 points, Radicon would get 8. So the gap at the top would increase to 17 points, I believe. Let's just have a look. Yeah, so it's a 17-point gap it would be, with Gamer James and Switchback out of the race for the title going into the season finale in Abu Dhabi.
I'm almost surprised that nobody has decided to come into the pits.
But perhaps it's not in the realms of intermediate conditions yet, which is why, even though the track is getting more and more slippery, it's not quite the time to be switching on to the intermediates yet.
Well, Gummers has gone on to the intermediates.
That's the second set of intermediates as well.
On the intermediates as well, yeah. It's his second time he's been on intermediates over the course of this race.
Well, if other drivers end up bidding into the barriers and he's still in the race, then who knows? He may get the odd few positions back, but he's got a long way to go yet before he's able to do that. So DeSimpi's gone on intermediates as well. Now he's been in the pits once in this race. That's the second time he's stopped. So he's exiting the pits now on his intermediates. How quick will he be on those intermediates in comparison to those who are still on dries?
I don't know. But Tilwick 14, he's marked as supposedly pitting. He's not coming to the pits though. Quasinado isn't doing the same. I believe the race leaders have done going around for another lap. Yeah, they are.
I'm just watching WSP's just got by DeSimpi. Sorry to interrupt there, Byron, but WSP's got by DeSimpi to lap him, who is on the intermediate. So this could be a good comparison to see what tyres is the best tyres to be on right now. And to be honest, it's pretty much neck and neck. And B Natty Natter has retired from the session of one of these. Crashed out in sector 1 somewhere, and he has done, yeah. So he's crashed out in just trying to find the corner name for that. There are so many corner names here at Zandvoort, I can't quite remember, but it's called the Shivlak corner that he's gone off at.
A piece of information which I did not know. Anyway, it didn't cause a safety car, surprisingly. I thought maybe it might.
I wonder if he's got caught out in... Sorry, I wonder if he's got caught out in the conditions, the change of conditions on those slicks. So, when do you call it?
Well, I don't think it'll be all too long until these drivers call it. I wonder if you were... Is it Schiffer who's not pitted?
Schiffer Gifty, yeah.
Alright.
So, Radicon's got past Switchback. So Radicon made the move on the start-finish straight. I wonder, have they disabled DRS, or is the DRS still there? But either way, Radicon's got ahead of Switchback and up into 5th place. And Karim's retired. Yeah, Karim has had a moment. Not sure what's happened.
Virtual safety car.
It's a virtual safety car. So, is this the time to make the switch to intermediates, or do you stay out there? Yeah, he's crashed out, has Karim. The right rear's has dislodged itself.
Zali decided to go to medium, so he's clearly thinking it's not going to be wet enough for a change of tyre compounds.
I suppose he's not going to lose that much time on the virtual safety car conditions. It is a short pit lane here in Zandvoort, so the amount of time you do lose in the pits is rather minimal.
True, but you can't afford to make the same mistake twice. And...
Ben McEwen's pitting. Ben McEwen is in the pits as the virtual safety car ends. Now, what tyres is he going to go on? Is he going on the intermediates? The answer is yes, he will be. Gamer James is...
drivers thinking intermediates are faster.
Radicon stayed out though. Switchback is in the pits for intermediates, but Radicon stayed out. Now Radicon has got ahead of Ben McEwen.
Yeah. But now this is going to be interesting. What's going to happen to the gap? Well, it's shrinking because actually I think that Ben McEwen might have made the right call here.
Well,
I
it could
think
be...
the current intermediates might have made the right choice, because Radicon just made a big mistake there, and Ben McEwen is just gaining so much time over the course of this lap. I'm going to change it to the gap to the leader to see if Ben McEwen is gaining to the leader as it stands. And yes, he is. He's gaining significant time, but it's still DRS is enabled, so the FIA still think it's fine, but it's not all too fine. And Ben McEwen gets past Radicon and back up into third place, so taking a gamble.
So WSP... Sorry. WSP and Elog coming into the pits for intermediates. Now, will Ben McEwen get in front of Elog? He won't get in front of the racing point. I think Elog will get out in front of Ben McEwen. So yeah, he does. So Elog keeps hold of second position.
Well, it's going to be a thorn in Ben McEwen's side, but he can still potentially take P2.
Radicon
still closing.
Yeah, Radicon's exited the pits ahead of Switchback, and he's struggling to... Oh, he struggles to get the car slowed down through turn 4 into the Hugenholtz. But yeah, he's struggling to keep the car on the circuit. He's not enjoying this race so far, to be honest with you, is Radicon. And you can see Elog getting past the back marker of Bishop's Finger. And it looks like the Haas of Tilwick has gone for a spin on the exit of Tarzan. Now, I'm just thinking, Byron, with the rain intensifying, could it get to a point where wet tyres are needed?
I'd say that's probably unlikely. It could happen, but it's increasingly unlikely, I think. I doubt we will need the wet tyres in this race. However, I could be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. And Denmark's got by Switchback on his intermediates to go up into 6th place. So Denmark making good ground so far. Monkey Mafia is another 10 seconds behind Switchback, who does have that time penalty to throw in at the end of this race. He's in the pits now. I wonder if he's had an incident somewhere, Switchback, because he's come back into the pits, and I think he's going to need a new front wing here. Yes, he will.
Well, that's certainly losing him at least one place, probably two. He'll lose, definitely, yeah, he's going to lose the place to Ray as well. Doubt he'll be losing the place to anybody else there.
Yeah, Decempi's well behind him, so Switchback will be joining 9th place. So his championship hopes are slipping further and further away now. Ben McEwen doesn't need to worry about where he is at the moment. In 3rd place, with Radicon in 5th, that would extend his gap at the top to 15 points from 10 as it was at the beginning of the race.
It's 5 more points. It's a bigger gap that he can afford to lose. You know.
And it looks though Gamer James has spun. Gamer James has spun on the exit of the last turn, and he's going to surely lose a position. In fact, he's coming into the pits for a new front wing. That promotes Radicon up into 4th place, but Gamer James lost it on the exit, nearly similarly to his teammate Karim, who lost it earlier, and now Gamer James is coming into the pits for a new nose like Switchback did so.
Some drivers just not quite getting to grip with these wetter conditions. The pun slightly intended, but not intentional.
Look at the raindrops now. Look at the raindrops on the circuit. You can clearly see with the way that the track is, puddles are beginning to form. Now I wonder, sooner rather than later, before this race is done, will these drivers need to come back in for a set of the wets? WSP is obviously going to carry on. He doesn't need to take too many risks here. But I'm just thinking it's not going to be too long before wet tyres are going to be necessary for these drivers.
Potentially. It depends as to when it gets to wet tyre kind of range though. If it gets to wet tyre range this lap, it's worth pitting. But if it's on lap like 34 where you need the wet tyres, then it doesn't make sense to pit. It becomes kind of relatively illogical at that point to pit because you can't make up that time. So sometimes it will be better to stay out on those dries as opposed to on those wets. So
Ben McEwen struggling to get the power down and coming out of turn 4, otherwise known as the Hugenholtz, and I think it's inevitable that wet tyres are going to play a factor. Or do you risk it out on intermediates and save yourself time from coming into the pits? Bear in mind, as I mentioned before, you don't lose that much time by being in the pits.
That's a gamble these drivers are going to be weighing in their hands, and a gamble which could pay off potentially as to whether you want it or not though. So you had a flag in sector 3, not sure why though. Didn't see anything happen, so
yeah,
we'll just pretend it was never there.
Yeah, well, Radicon's moving up. With Radicon moving up to 4th place, that would see the championship go to 13 points between Ben McEwen and Radicon going into the last race of the season. So Radicon gaining an extra 2 points, but can he make up all the ground he can to catch Ben McEwen, or is he having to contend with 4th position? You can see there's an incident on the exit of the last turn. Sarli went for a spin and a virtual safety car is deployed. Sarli's calling it today. He's had a nightmare one with the tyre mix-up earlier on. But it's another virtual safety car.
That's just a DNF. That wasn't even an intentional one by the seams of it. He just got it all wrong, I believe, on the traction out of that. And it has cost him absolutely boatloads because his car is in absolute bits and he can't continue in this race at all. It's wet. Very wet. Wet. Just wet Zambor.
Yeah.
I've said wet about 6 times in one sentence and I somehow weirdly made it work.
Well, Gamer James has got a drive-through penalty now for speeding under the virtual safety car as it was ending, so he'll have to take that within the next 3 laps. So that just adds, another dagger to the heart, really, for Gamer James, who is most certainly going to be dropping out of the title race with the way it's going. And where will he come out after his drive-through penalty? He'll probably come down to 9th place behind Switchback.
Yeah, something drastic would have to happen in order for him to stay in the championship hunt. It's unlikely, incredibly unlikely at this stage, and
some of these drivers are struggling to get the power down coming out of some of the slow corners. We saw a moment ago with Gamer James, who almost hugging the apex. Now I think they are still on the right tyres, but the track is getting more and more slippy, and it may be that the drivers will tiptoe their way to the checker flag on the intermediates, but I could well be wrong.
Gamer James is serving his drive-through time penalties, so...
Yeah, and Bishop's Finger's gone for a spin on the exit of Hugenholtz, so that's him down a position or 2, I think. But Gamer James has taken his drive-through penalty, and he rejoins in 7th position, so he's only just lost 1 place through all that.
If he gets to wet tyres, though, he's going to lose, probably even a bit more time, so...
And,
unlucky stuff for him.
I think Denmark went for a spin, which was why the yellow flags were waved at Shivlak, and he's still in 5th position, on course for a good result, but it doesn't do himself any good, really, with him spinning around like that. Ben McEwen over 2 seconds behind Elog, but I'm sure he'll be happy with where he is and how this race has gone. And 6 laps to go. Do you take the risk and go on the wets?
I don't think so. I don't see there's much benefit of doing it with only 5 laps left, unless you think you would really lose it that much and the track is going to get that much wetter, which, is just very unlikely. And I think there might be 1 or 2 drivers that do that, but I don't think that's going to be the right choice.
And Switchback getting by Ray E46, going up into 8th position. So Switchback getting another couple of points. The next one up from him is Gamer James. And Radicon 20.5 seconds behind Ben McEwen. And in fact, he's over 30 seconds behind race leader WSP. That tells you everything about WSP's race. He's hardly been challenged since the start of this one. But it can all change if he loses it on someone else has lost it. It's Elog. Elog's lost it on the start-finish straight. So Elog has lost it on the start-finish straight. He must have had damage to the car. I just wonder if he's on the right-hand side. Yeah, on the right-hand side of his front wing, he's got damage. Someone else has gone for a spin as well. It's the Williams of Bishop's Finger. But Elog losing it. Doing the same thing as what Sarli and Karim had done. And almost bidding it on the start-finish straight. That moves Ben McEwen up into 2nd place. And I reckon that Radicon's going to get by him very, very shortly. So that's another 3 points for Ben McEwen's title challenge. Now, if Radicon gets past Elog, the gap would still be 13 points.
Well, there's a significant gap between Elog and Radicon, so potentially Elog could keep 3rd place, but it's going to be a tough one, and he's going to have a pretty tough few laps installed with reduced downforce, so he's going to have to be very careful out there.
I should think so too, and Elog is going to lose a whole bunch of time, with that damaged front wing, and then, especially in conditions like this, where you need more downforce in the wet than you would do in the dry. But Elog seems to be managing the gap okay, actually. He's 10 seconds in front of Radicon. It's not like Radicon's eaten into his gap largely. We are 4 laps from the end.
Well, as it stands, Ben McEwen's going to extend his championship lead by 6 points over Radicon. And, well, Gamer James is definitely going to be out of the championship hunt, so...
But
he's just made it up into 6th, so...
Yeah, he's got by Monkey Mafia, who will most certainly want to let Switchback go past him in his bid to keep his team hopes alive. And someone else has gone for a spin. It's the Mercedes of Gamazindu. He's gone for another spin there. Almost wrecking the front wing.
Imagine if that was Radicon. That would have been heartbreaking for him.
Yeah, that would have been heartbreaking, wouldn't it? Having said that, Radicon's got a 20-second gap over Denmark, so I think if Radicon did have a spin, he wouldn't lose 4th place.
It's unlikely, but it depends on the nature of it.
Yeah, well, we've seen drivers binning it on the exit of turn 15, the last corner before the pit straight. WSP doesn't need to be taking too many risks. He's 3 laps away now from taking a victory on his debut in the America F1 Series, and what a dominant drive it's been from him.
Yeah, can't fault anything he's done in this race. It has been flawless from him, and there's not much longer for him to go until he'll take the checkered flag in probably P1. Anything could happen in 2 laps. He could bin it and DNF, but it's unlikely. It's clear he has quite a lot of skill and caliber as it stands, and no one can really challenge him.
And Switchback going past his teammate Monkey Mafia up into 7th position. Now, Monkey Mafia did go wide, but I wonder if that was deliberate in order to let his teammate through.
Probably. Would make sense, but you let him through as he is faster at this stage.
So
I do wonder though, sorry, I was just going to say, I wonder who took wet setups for the race and who took dry setups. Maybe who took a mix of both, and what kind of setups have we got on WSP and Ben McEwen, and I would really like to see what these guys have got and how they finished compared to the people on different setups, because it'd be really interesting to see that, I think.
No, certainly so, but they are under part Fermi rules, so the only things they can change is the front downforce, which, as I've mentioned before, you do need more downforce in wet conditions than you do in the dry, hence why you may see... I
mean, they obviously, like, come qualifying, they check the weather, they can see, oh, the race, it's going to be wet towards the end, you know, I'll chuck on a bit of downforce now, you know, because I have got park firmly. So I don't know, these drivers, they obviously clearly, the drivers at the top have managed to manage the pressure well, as they've had this good result. So, you know, it'll be, I still think it would be interesting to see what kind of setups these guys have and how they share, you know, kind of were against one another. Because
WSP beginning to start his final lap here in Zandvoort. It's been a compelling drive from him. 16 seconds clear of championship leader Ben McEwen in second place. But crucially for the Scot, he will extend his lead over Radicon, and it would put Gamer James and Switchback out of the title race going into the last round of the season in Abu Dhabi. And what a race it's been so far, with mixed conditions in this one. But the likes of Ben McEwen and WSP haven't done anything wrong, Byron.
oh no, they have been flawless, and it is clear that for yet another race they have just shown the pure pace that they have. WSP hasn't put a foot wrong all race, and Ben McEwen has tried. He has fought, but he has ultimately been unsuccessful in the goal of trying to beat WSP. But he did beat Elog, Radicon, Gamer James, and the drivers that he needed to beat. You know, there's a positives and negatives for, I think, quite a few drivers, but there's definitely all positives for WSP as he takes the checker flag in P1 at Zandvoort for round number 11 of 12. WSP wins at Zandvoort.
Yep, WSP wins the Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort. His first victory in his first start in this series. And Switchback's got by Gamer James, but that won't change the situation in the championship. Ben McEwen will most certainly extend his lead in the title race. He crosses the line, hits the pit wall as he goes past, but that doesn't change anything. He finishes in second place. Elog continues a good run of form in third for Renault. Then it's Radicon in fourth place for Mercedes. He's the only driver now who can deprive Ben McEwen of the title in Abu Dhabi. He remains in the hunt, albeit 16 points behind. Denmark will finish in 5th place in the second Renault. Switchback will be 6th ahead of Monkey Mafia, who's got by Gamer James on the last lap. In fact, I wonder if Gamer James has picked up damage somewhere. But Switchback will come home in 6th place. He's got that time penalty as well. But I think even with that, it wouldn't drop him down the order. But as he crosses over the line now, in 6th position, Monkey Mafia will come through. In 7th place.
I just realised how good WSP's race was. He took the fastest lap as well, significantly as well. So he has really not put a foot wrong, as he takes 26 points, the absolute maximum he could have.
Yep, and it's been a compelling performance from WSP. He dominated from start to finish from pole position, led every single lap as well, and you just can't complain with how he's done. And he's the second Racing Point driver to win a race this season, to Pure G Jackson, the driver he replaced for this round, had done in Singapore. It was really, really good job, and it seems today with the Racing Point drivers seem to do well when performing brilliantly, but good job from them in the championship, it has to be said. And Ben McEwen will be happy with his second place, even though he hasn't won today. He'll most definitely be happy with it. So WSP is the race winner, ahead of Ben McEwen in second place. Elog is in third, ahead of Radicon. Denmark in fifth, Switchback in sixth place, and it's Monkey Mafia. Gamer James 06 in eighth place. Ray was ninth, ahead of Disimpi. Stokeblow, Bishop's Finger, Quasinada, Shift Gifty, Tilwick, Gummas Indu were... In fact, Tilwick was the last of the finish in 15. Gummas Indu did cross the line, but he didn't complete enough laps to be classified. Salih didn't finish either. He crashed out, as did Karim and B. Natty Natter. The situation in the championship is that Ben McEwen has extended his lead to 16 points over Radicon, so there are just two drivers in the running, as Gamer James and Switchback are out of the title race. Byron, it's been some race, and I'm sure you've enjoyed it as well. Your last thoughts from today's event?
Ben McEwen, drivers' champion confirmed, basically, in my opinion. Yeah, I doubt he's going to lose the championship at Abu Dhabi. Of course, anything could happen, but it's unlikely he's going to lose it, and he's really not put a foot wrong, I think, all season. And good race, obviously, for WSP, but Ben McEwen, he's just been on it.
Yeah, and Williams have taken the lead in the Constructors' Championship from Mercedes. They go into the round with not convincingly, but they are leading by a fair few points going into Abu Dhabi, the last race of the season, next weekend on the 18th of April, 9:30 p.m. British Summer Time. Byron, thank you for your company. I've enjoyed it as much as you have, and I'm sure all of those who have watched the stream will have enjoyed that as well. Do tune in next week for the season finale to see either Ben McEwen or Radicon being crowned champion. I'm Tom Cairns, and I'll speak to you again soon when the America F1 Series returns.